99,610. Real close. 390 away. 390 subscribers away from 100,000, at which point we're just going to leave YouTube.
And I don't have to sell my crypto.
Well, we'll see about that. You may have to sell that a necessity if the economy keeps tanking, but whatever. So would it be possible to take out a loan against your crypto like you would any other type of equity?
Yes.
Man, who the fuck would insure that kind of loan? Who's the underwriter?
Well, as it goes down, then you have to put more crypto in. So it's kind of like a loan against your crypto, but if your crypto is devalued, then you owe them even more.
So it's a loan against the variable.
Yeah.
What do you call
rate,
it?
Variable change.
Not rate. The variable value.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Celsius is the company that can do that.
No, it's not.
Good Lord, just go to a payday loan shop at that point.
Yeah, I know, right? Sell your kidney if it's getting that bad. Yeah. So this is going to be one of the last shows, or one of the last American parties, because if you haven't heard, the bird is the word. Nope, that's not it. If you haven't heard, rebranding the show to Citizen, which is I'm trying to not just for the show itself, but also personally change the way that I'm talking about the world from purely what goes on in American politics to what would make the best possible citizenry, because I think it's I've said this before, I think that the only way to really insulate ourselves from government and their incompetency and their authoritarian bend is to do things for ourselves. And that's pretty much it. I mean, what?
This just sounds dangerously like you're becoming a globalist. We're all citizens of the world, Dan?
No, we're all citizens responsible for our own communities. I don't give a fuck about the rest of the world.
Responsible for Mother Nature?
No. Mother Nature is responsible for itself. And if you think that human beings can truly fuck this planet up, then I would point to the Manhattan-sized meteor that hit us about 65 or so million years ago, wiped out most life on Earth, but the Earth was fine. As a matter of fact, if you poke your head out right now, you can see Earth. You can see Earth thriving.
Actually got stronger after getting hit by another planet.
Yeah, technically, a planet about the size of Mars slammed into the side of the Earth about 4 billion years ago. And we just got bigger. And there's still green shit outside. I don't know if you noticed that. Before America what the fuck? Well, America is the world, I guess. But before the world even started, we had cataclysmic event after cataclysmic event. Bob, what is that psychological disorder where people blame everything on themselves? It's like a form of grandiosity. I can't remember what it's called, though.
I got to Google.
Yeah, Google that.
It just says the first thing that came up is self-blame.
Well, that's like Chinaman as a racial slur. It's the laziest shit I've ever heard. No, there's a psychological disorder where somebody is so arrogant or whatever, narcissistic, that they think everything is their fault, that they cause all the problems in the world. Something narcissism. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I'm seeing like major depressive disorder. Let me see if I could.
Let's see. Power Rangers, man. Power Rangers or Voltron?
Who was your favorite Power Ranger? That was Power Rangers for sure.
I don't really remember. Was the black one the
breakdancer?
But he wasn't like always part of the crew, right?
No, you're thinking of the Green Ranger with the dark hair.
Oh yeah, that's the guy.
Who then became the White Ranger after that.
Is that like Gandalf?
Kinda. He was evil and he played the flutes and he had the cool like dragon that came from the sea.
As the white one?
No, as the green.
Oh, so green, and then he became white, and then became good.
Yes, and then he rode a lion
That's
after that.
very subtle.
Yes.
Lion, by the way, is a literary metaphor for Jesus. So
Man, Power Rangers really packing that in there.
well, a couple of them probably were, right?
So wait, Daniel was fighting Jesus in that lion's den?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, actually,
Damn.
he didn't fight them. They just sat there. So
Yeah.
Jesus only aided the other Christians.
So Jesus didn't want that smoke from Daniel.
No, I mean, can you blame him though? Daniel is a pretty legit dude.
Got to think so.
David, on the other hand, kind of a cunt. King David, the ancestor of Jesus, on his mom's side, obviously.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah. David was basically the dictator of Israel. They were in a war. There was a woman named Bathsheba that was married to one of his generals. She was super hot, so David arranged for his general to go to the front lines and get killed so he could bang the dude's wife. And afterwards, God killed David's firstborn son.
Worth it?
It depends on the kid. You know what I mean? Like, we don't treat as much as folklore and tradition and all that stuff, and even like caste systems favor firstborn sons. We haven't really treated them well historically, have we?
No, we usually cast them out or blame them or fight them.
Abraham was going to cut Isaac's dick off or whatever until God was like, "Oh, just kidding, bro."
Well, yeah, because I guess we always think they're going to try to fuck our wives or kill us and usurp us in some way.
Maybe, yeah.
But also, I think we're looking at that parable completely wrong. He had a one-night stand with a hot woman, accidentally got her pregnant, and then God took care of that for him.
God took the blame for it, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Let's see. Mike DeSalvo says Jesus wasn't with Daniel, with the lions. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. God is everywhere. Jesus is God, therefore wrong.
Yeah, we were also just making a joke,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
On my way here, I stopped at 7-Eleven real quick, and there was a truck with a bumper sticker on the back.
Yeah.
And it said, "You follow Jesus this closely?" And I wanted to just like get in his truck and be like, well, Jesus lives inside of me. So
Yeah.
I will now be inside of your truck.
Ram into the back of him and be like, I just wanted to get closer to Jesus. Fucking smart ass. I can't find what this psychological condition
I can't
is.
either.
I'll find it. I actually just, the reason I even brought it up is because I heard it in a book I'm reading, listening to rather on Audible right now. Again, it was in reference to people that have like a hero complex. They think that everything in the world is some result of their action. But anyways, the point of that is that's like a super fucked up way to go through life, thinking like that. It's like people that it's kind of, you have empathy for things, but you're also narcissistic and you have like a high level of anxiety all at the same time. So you think everything is about you, but you try to make it better. And when it doesn't work, you blame yourself and get depressed. It's fucking dumb, man. It doesn't work.
Stop blaming yourself for all the world's problems.
I don't blame myself for anything.
Well, not you, just that
Totally
person, the narrative.
So let's get started with tweeters. The first one on my list right now, that's United States trends. Where's the other one? All right, here we go. Why I Chime. This looks like it's some kind of marketing campaign.
For a Chime card,
Yeah.
which is some sort of weird debit, credit card hybrid. It basically targeted at the lower income individuals. Most car rental places won't accept it anymore.
Why not?
I think it's because it acts as a credit card, like maybe deducting a small amount and then putting it back into your account. And I think you can run up large bills and then be able to defraud on those bills.
Sweet.
Or default.
Let's see. Jared Holler says, is American Party trademarked? I want to start a podcast that is nothing like Dan's, just me and whomever. Notice I corrected your grammar, wants to join partying and or, yeah, America parties. Yeah, do it. You can use the same logo, just paste your face over mine.
It's got to be a bad Photoshop job too.
Yeah, like the worse the Photoshop job is, the funnier it is. Yeah, I would never tell somebody to not do something, unless you're selling like bootleg merch and shit like that. At that Backstreet Boys concert, right outside the exit, there's like 4 or 5 different people selling clearly bootleg stuff. You would think with the it's about 4 semi trucks that carry all of the stuff for a regular tour, plus the band and everything else, and buses. But there's like 4 semi trucks that carry all their shit, the
Just
pyro
equipment,
and the
yeah.
lights. Yeah, you would think, and somewhere inside there, they could fit one person that liaises with the police and stops people from buying bootleg merchandise.
Is that not capitalism, though, Dan?
In a way, yeah. I mean, if the market is willing to buy that shit, technically it is capitalism, yes.
If I were them, I would buy it. Like I would want some bootlegged Backstreet Boys merch if I were a Backstreet Boy.
I'm sure they've got plenty. They've been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
Better idea. You come in as the venue, buy up all the bootleg merch and a bulk discount from the bootleggers, resell it inside as a markup. Then you don't even have to have a distributor anymore. You're having them produce your merch for you.
The margins would probably be lower, but it would be the shipping wouldn't exist because it would already be there. So maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you don't have to buy it on consignment, because you don't know how much people are going to buy. Right?
True.
So, like if you don't, or I'm sorry, as long as you were buying on consignment. So
But-
you technically buy it from them, but only if you sell it, and the rest goes back to them at the
But
end.
then you have an agreement to give every employee one of those shirts, and then you wrap that up and file that under the pay-per-view loss, and then you don't pay Jake Paul his money.
Oh boy. Next up is Louder Milk. Just in, select committee releases new details of Louder Milk's tour, showing actual evidence of the guests photographing tunnels, hallways, and other details of the complex that the committee says are not typically of interest to tours. This is something to do with the January 6th hearing. What is Louder Milk? Is that like a fucking white supremacist band or something?
I think he was the punter for UCF for a few years. Yeah, his long hair.
Barry
Didn't make it in the
Loudermilk.
NFL, no.
Is that seriously who they're talking about? Barry Louder? Yeah. Oh, it's Representative Barry Louder.
Yeah.
So he's a congressperson.
From Georgia. Georgia 11th? Where's that? Marietta, Kennesaw,
So
just north of Atlanta.
he was reportedly captured on video hurling threats at lawmakers during the insurrectionist riot on January 6th of 2021. Interesting. Never heard of this guy. Let's see if anybody's captured this. Let's see. The footage captures him singling out House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Chuck Schumer before saying, "We're coming for you." Wait, he's a congressman. Isn't he allowed to be in the fucking Capitol? That's kind of the point, isn't it?
He's giving tours to other people who were later involved in January 6th, I believe, is the situation.
Ah, that's interesting.
Like here, I don't know what's going on with this, but it is interesting that this dude's just taking a picture of a stairwell.
Yeah, was that, and this is one of the guys that was also arrested on January 6th?
Yeah. Like what?
That's pretty bizarre, yeah.
But who knows? Maybe he likes marble stairs.
I mean, as you can see, Loudermilk is in the background talking to other people while this is happening. But and then let's see, he says, "We're coming to take you out and pull you out by your hairs." Interesting thing to say. "When I get done with you, you're going to need a shine on top of that bald head." That's pretty funny. Although a beating can be good for your skin sometimes, right? Like just the getting white blood cells in there to repair stuff. That's what the lasers do that fuck your face up that women use.
Like just enough.
Yeah, to rebuild collagen and shit. Like it fucks your face up so your face will rebuild itself. Just trying to take this guy at the best possible meaning. The man in the picture there, taking a picture of the stairwell, who's not been identified, had attended the Trump rally at the Ellipse on the morning before blah, blah, blah. Footage shows a man located outside the Capitol building. There was no immediate indication of the man facing charges in connection with the riot. So, doesn't look like they have any evidence that he actually stormed the Capitol. He was just at the protest. So
No.
this is pretty much nothing.
The only questionable situation that I actually see out of this is Loudermilk said that he did not give a tour to anyone on this day, which he did.
Clearly did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, maybe he's just stupid and forgot.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they keep like detailed logs of that stuff. I don't think anybody would think they could just lie about that.
Right.
It's weird, right? I mean, they're going to subpoena this dude. If they can find this guy, or if they already have, they're going to subpoena his phone records and see if he sent data to anybody that was arrested, right? Like they'll cross-reference their phone numbers. This will be interesting. And to be clear, this was not in any way an insurrection. Jack Del Rio is right. Ron Rivera is a lying cunt and a pathetic excuse for a human being. But there is some possibility. Like, there were dummies there that stormed the Capitol, regardless of the Capitol Police letting them in. There were some people that were doing stupid shit that day. There's no reason to believe that there wasn't some, there's at least some chance. There's a non-0% chance that some members of Congress or bureaucrats or administrative employees assisted in this in some way. Right? Or it stoked it or whatever. That's still possible that some dummy said some dumb shit. If you don't believe me, look at all the stuff the liberals have been saying about the Supreme Court for the last fucking year. And especially over the last month or so, and what it resulted in. Like, people do dumb shit like that all the time. So your standard shouldn't be whether or not you believe a particular narrative or in a person or in a political party or on a side. It should be whether or not something is true. That's it. Next, number 3 on tweeters is Ryan Gosling has he's bleached blonde, bleached his hair, and has an orange six-pack because there's a Barbie movie, like a live-action Barbie movie.
And he's Ken, yeah. This is him.
This doesn't look like a Ken to me. Well, neck down.
Are they gonna take what's it rated? Are we gonna see the smooth part? Like, I call my dick and balls the thickness, but for Ken it's the smooth.
Right, if there's nothing down there, I'm sure it's PG, right?
That's a good question. If you what if she? No, because Team America, they had that whole puppet scene where the woman was shitting on Homeboy and all that.
Right, but that was fecal matter.
They were still like miming sex acts, or not miming, but whatever. So I didn't realize this. This movie is directed by Greta Gerwig.
Who's that?
She did Lady Bird and the new Little Women movie that came out like a couple years
she's
ago.
not the climate change girl?
Why?
Frances Ha as well.
What? Little Women?
Yeah,
What the fuck are you talking about?
the movie Little Women.
She's a famous actor and director.
Why would you? We need to have a talk because
Just call me gay.
no one.
Let's just skip like 1,000 words.
No, because it's like it's not. It's the musicals as well. It's not just like it's beyond gayness at this point.
First off, went with my wife. Secondly, not a movie I would have
the
seen.
gayest thing you could have done.
Yeah, being married's pretty gay. Secondly, actually very good period piece, if nothing else. But then as far as Greta Gerwig goes, I don't know where I'm going with this. Greta Gerwig, though, is like an adult director. Like, she doesn't direct kids' movies. And this movie's PG-13.
I see.
Allegedly.
All right, so maybe we will see some fecal matter. What's the story of Little Women? Is it about midgets?
No, it's about 3 girls growing up in the 1850s and 60s while Papa's away at the Civil War.
Which side are they on?
The North.
Of course. Nobody talks about the fucking the debutantes in the South and how they struggled. losing their slaves. It
It's-
sucked, man.
Yeah, it was a little whitewashing by us.
Yeah. I mean, they took a bigger L for sure, right? Just in lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they had to start doing shit for themselves. Who the fuck wants to do that? Little Women, interesting.
Had you really never heard of that?
No, I read it in high school.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever, middle school.
It's like,
It's interesting that they made it into a movie. I guess Pride and Prejudice has been made like 4 different times.
yeah. And actually, I will say this about the movie, too. It was very good. And one of the reasons it was good is because in the book, and I haven't seen the Winona Ryder, Christian Bale version from the 90s.
It's bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
no, Christian Bale's amazing. Winona Ryder's like still got a California Valley Girl accent
Right.
throughout the whole thing.
I-
But her
I-
titties come out, so
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
No titties in this one. But one of the problems with that, I feel like, is it's just one long narrative, and all of a sudden they grow up or whatever. This one did a good job of weaving it from the past and present at the same time. It was narratively, it was a really clever rewriting of it. Good movie. Most of our audience will probably hate it, but it is a good film.
good cast. Emma Watson, Laura Dern is a really good actress. Timothy Chalamet, Bob Odenkirk, Chris Cooper, Meryl Streep. Maybe I'll watch it. No, I'm not going to watch that. Just kidding. That is a good cast, though. Greta Gerwig. What an unfortunate name that is. I mean, Greta's fine, but Gerwig.
I actually think it's like, for her, a very fortunate name.
Oh, is it like worse?
Well,
The
no,
real
because
name?
it's like she's a hipster filmmaker, so it's like hyper on brand.
Her first like breakout film was in black and white.
You know what was a thing for a while in the late 2000s and the early 2010s was hipster married couples combining their last names to make a new last name.
Yeah.
Do you remember that stupid shit?
If that was proposed to me, I would just be like, all right, we'll just keep our names. We'll just keep our names.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care what system we use, whether whose ever name is what name and who takes whose or keeps what, as long as it makes the family tree easier to read. That's the only thing that I really care about. So why don't we just go back to House? Like, I'm Dan from House Holloway.
Right.
Instead of, like, nobody would fucking just call you by your first and last name. Like, I'm Dan. Dan, where are you from?
What's your dad's name?
Yeah. And that's what...
Your
like,
dad's first name. Like, you're Dan,
Yeah.
Stevenson.
In Arabic, it's kind of reversed, though. Oftentimes, very frequently, actually, not just often, but almost all the time, once a man has kids, his name, his colloquial name amongst the people that know him becomes, basically translates to father of whatever his first son's name is. So Abu, that's what Abu means, father of. Abu Abbas, Abu Baker, all those guys, that was just their kid's first name. Interesting. Live action PG-13 Barbie movie. I mean, if they do it like the second and third Toy Stories, where there's a bunch of inside adult jokes and shit like that, that would probably be pretty fucking funny. Who's playing Barbie?
Margot Robbie. Have her right here.
That doesn't make sense to me. How is she Barbie? Barbie is like a fucking tiny waist, big hip, giant tit. She doesn't look anything like Barbie. Like, you put her in the same clothes, but you can put any blonde in those clothes. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
She's got big tits, right?
No, she was in. You can look at them right now if you want. They're on from whatever.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street, yeah.
Yeah, they were nice.
No. I mean, I'm not saying they're not nice. What I'm saying is they're not large. Like Barbie, pull up the fucking measurements for Barbie. Like if Barbie was a human, that's a thing.
So if she were an actual woman, she'd be 5'9", have a 39-inch bust, an 18-inch waist, 33-inch hips, and a size 3 shoe.
Wait, say all that again.
5'9",
Yep.
39-inch bust, 18-inch waist, 33-inch hips, a size 3 shoe, and she'd be about 110 pounds.
Size 3? God, she's Korean.
They wrapped her feet as a baby.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. These are, they're pretty proportional to her body. They look
Yeah,
good.
no, I'm not. Look, I'm not.
This is the finest she's ever looked.
Calm down. You guys, we're not pounding off during the fucking show.
You're not.
But she's not. How tall is she?
We're discrediting an 18-inch waist.
Yeah,
That's
that's
insane.
ridiculous.
She's
Like
5'6".
she's 5'6". That's in the ballpark, but her bust size is not anywhere close, and her hip size as well. Like it's there's no fucking way.
Well, I think that Barbie's sizes are like physically impossible.
Yeah, that people get weird surgeries.
Yeah.
To look like that, but
So I have Margot's measurements actually.
okay.
So her hip size, so Barbie's hips is 33 inches, hers are 34 inches. Ooh. Now, however,
Her waist size is probably like 24, right?
it is literally 24, whereas Barbie's is 18. Again, that goes back to the cannot possibly happen on a human being.
Yeah.
No.
First of all, her waist is not 24. It's probably 25 to 26.
Who?
Margot Robbie.
Nah, Britney's is 24.
I feel like pretty smaller than
23,
Margot Robbie.
24. I don't think so. They're
Margot
about this,
doesn't-
they're exactly the same size actually. Because Britney's 5'6" as well.
Also, didn't know this. The real Jordan Belfort, 5'7", listed.
Yeah, he's a teensy little
He's a
man.
tiny man.
Funny as shit though. Look, this is complaining just to complain, right? Because there's no actress in Hollywood that has these measurements or anywhere on earth probably. I just didn't like when I think of Barbie, I think dumb California big tit blonde, and Margot doesn't really strike me as any of those.
When you say those words, Dan, I think love.
God damn it! Do you guys agree with the casting of her for that?
I mean, I guess I would need an alternative. Like if it needs to be a natural blonde, so she's got that going for her.
What are the other options?
Right. Like I don't.
Let's look it up. Young blonde actresses. Well,
I guess Sydney Sweeney, maybe. But she's a little thicker.
I don't know who that is. Let me look it up.
So it couldn't be like Jennifer Lawrence because she's too thick.
Oh, fat shaming.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Well, one of the women that's on this list. Oh no, that was another movie she did. That was Little Women. Saoirse Ronan. I don't know how you say it.
Saoirse Ronan from
I love Saoirse
Yeah,
Ronan.
Little Women.
Women.
Yeah.
she's fantastic. So I mean, here we've got this is just a list I found on IMDb
Okay.
from 10 years ago, but still famous blonde actresses.
So
Yeah,
this
but
doesn't hold up.
for Barbie, it's like mid-20s, right? That's her
Some
ageless age.
some do, some don't. So Amber Heard is 5th on this list. I actually think stripped away of everything else, she would be not a bad Barbie.
Well, she's dumb as shit.
Right.
You got to go younger. This
All right,
list
let me
is
see.
too old.
All right, let's see if I can find another.
I wouldn't hate Sophie Turner.
No,
I
she's she's not who I would think of.
Here's one from 2018. This is a little better. Although
Has Jennifer Aniston on the list? No.
What about
shut the
Kieran
fuck up.
Shipka? Has anybody ever heard of
I
that?
love her, Kieran Shipka. Oof.
She has a Barbie-looking face. I think maybe that's what's throwing it off for me because Margot Robbie has very distinct and sharp features, and Barbie was like kind of like round. You know what I mean? Like her face is kind of round. Maybe that's it. Like this woman, it looks a lot more like Barbie's face to me. Oh, that's the woman. She played Sally Draper
Yes.
in Mad Men. Yeah.
She was Sabrina in the Netflix reboot.
Dove Cameron.
Yeah, I saw that name. I don't know who that is.
Robin, pull her up real quick.
Yeah.
She has that circular face you were talking about, Dan.
Catherine Newton. Catherine with a K is another one. She was in Gary Unmarried. I don't know what the fuck that is. She was a child actor, but she does stuff on CW now.
Here's Dove.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No.
The CW is just not where you
Maybe
want to be.
that's kind of a bad picture, but yeah,
This is very Barbie-esque, I feel like.
this woman is actually wearing a Barbie. Catherine Newton, Kathryn Newton. She's actually wearing a Barbie outfit in this fucking picture I'm looking at. Yeah, she could do it. I mean, the eyeshadow throws it off. I guess it's mostly about the face. I don't know. Anyways, I'm done talking about that. Let's see what's going on in there.
I wouldn't be surprised. I will just say this about the movie. It sounds like it could be kind of like the Brady Bunch movies from the 90s. Where
Yeah,
it's
as long
gonna
as
be
it's
super
making
tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, but as long as it's making fun of itself on purpose and, like you said, it's tongue in cheek, I think it has a potential to be a good movie. Bill Schofield says January Jones. Maybe 10 years ago I would have said yes because she does have that face and hair look for sure. Anyways, what's next? Jungkook. It's the new BTS song. Has anybody heard it yet? Are you guys K-pop fans?
Massive.
Huge.
I would play the song, but I guess it doesn't matter. We're not making any money off this anyways.
Here, I got one of the Jungkook. I think Jungkook is a member of.
Oh, yeah. He releases
BTS.
a new song called My You.
Okay. Here's him trying to hit a high note from that song, maybe?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's us trying to hit a high note.
Yeah.
And failing.
never did.
Miserably.
Good?
You guys really got to get your shit together.
It's like working with Ross.
That's a fucking offensive.
Yeah,
It was intended.
That's also not in any way.
All right, now we're good.
It's not a reasonable thing to say.
They were just like, we're not connected. There's 8 different ways that this computer is connected from A to B. And they're just like, it's not doing it. And then I'm supposed to just get the rest.
But still, comparing it to Ross's technological capabilities, that's basically like calling somebody Hitler for disagreeing with you.
Agreed. I take it. Rob, I take it back.
Do you want to
I
try
apologize greatly.
Try it again.
And he falls off the chair.
Yeah, we're definitely getting flack for that.
He's very relatable.
Nah, it was only 6 seconds. I think we're good.
I relate to that.
That's the rule, I think.
I mean, that dude's got a pretty incredible voice. You know what I noticed at the Backstreet Boys concert, by the way, is that Howie and the tall dude, what's his name, Kevin, with the one that dresses like Master Splinter all the time. Can we pull up a picture of him?
What?
Yeah. Like he just he's a tall, skinny white dude with a goatee that for some reason wears a lot of kimonos.
He does. At least I can find a kimono pic. But yeah, he very much kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
He was on the pod, right?
No, it was McIntyre, Joey McIntyre from NSYNC.
Damn, they're the same band to me.
Yeah, it's that one. I have a hard time. Although when I first was told that we were going to this, I was like, is that Donnie Wahlberg? But he's New Kids on the Block. Yeah, look at this guy. I mean, I'm sure he's a cool guy and all, and it's clothes that he's wearing on stage that I'm referring to, so he doesn't really pick that. That's weird, but he and Howie, who is the kind of nondescript dude, they are the luckiest people in the fucking world. Like, they've been cruising for 30 years now.
I would say the Carter brother is also pretty
No,
lucky.
Nick Carter is... Well, Aaron Carter, yes. Although he was a crackhead for a while.
I think-
And he got beat up by Lamar
For a
Odom.
while.
I don't think past tense is applicable here.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he fought Lamar Odom, so that's not a...
Look, I may have done illicit drugs with him in a small garden alley less than a year ago.
He rehashed because of you. Yeah.
I feel like I might have done that.
That's fine. But Nick Carter could sing. He's, I will say this, and I don't want to body shame or anything. He was the one that did kind of look out of shape on stage, but his voice is pretty good still. Like it still sounds like he's 19, but pretty good. That's the point I was making, that they still sound good. All right, I don't care about this. Why is Houston Oilers trending? I don't get it. Is there some kind of marketing campaign?
They drafted Steve McNair on this date.
The Houston Oilers, the Italian house.
Oh, wait, no, that's from a long time ago.
It's from a Jim Irsay thing.
Okay.
Indiana Restaurant Support Trivia, $500 certificate to Indiana Restaurant of Choice, 40 winners, blah, blah, blah. Name the NFL team that lost in the Baltimore Colts' final regular season victory and lost in the Indianapolis Colts' first regular season victory. Must retweet answer in restaurant choice. It's just Jim Irsay. He probably took a bump. He's like, fuck it, man. I like Jim Irsay though. Do you like owners that are super active and in the media and shit, like Mark Cuban?
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. I wish Jordan would do it more. I don't know why he stays so secluded.
I don't like when it's like a group of people.
No, that's dumb.
No.
That's what the Braves aren't even owned by a group of people.
It's owned by a company.
Right. Well, the Braves were bought as a tax write-off. It's a miracle we won that World Series. I also don't like the shady ones who are like rich and seem like an evil person, like up in a tower, like Angelos with the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, like whatever you think about Jerry Jones, he very clearly cares about the city, the team, and winning. He's just not good at it. You know what I mean? But he actually cares. I would say the same thing of Cuban, although he's had some bad luck, and he has delivered a chip more recently than Dallas.
And not with Cuban in particular, by the way. Like Jerry Jones bought a successful franchise. Cuban bought a dog shit franchise and got them a ring.
I mean, sort of. Jerry Jones, it was an historic franchise, but at the time it was not very successful. I think they went last to first, right?
Were they? When did he buy them? The 80s, late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah.
I mean, but they were.
I think '89 they were the worst team in football, and then Troy Aikman.
That's fair, but I mean, they still had like 4 Super Bowls
I
before
also
they.
Yeah,
appreciate
for sure.
when a family just passes down the team, kind of like the buses, the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the Walton family will do that. Like just keep, and not that I care one way about the Waltons or Walmart or anything, but just keep it in one family over time. It keeps things like Liberty Media from buying your team,
Right,
and not spending money. Like it's hard to just go. What are you going to do? Go to Liberty Media headquarters? Hey, quit it, man.
Liberty Media is what, a cable company? You just get on their hotline and fucking.
Yeah, it's owned by Warner Media, which is owned by Verizon or some shit. I don't fucking know. Everything's owned by
It's
one
crazy.
person
I mean, at one point, the Braves were owned by like AOL.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
Like not the guy who owned AOL.
No, it was the guy who made the CDs for 15 minutes of on internet time. It was a good market back then. I'm no shit getting an ad. I just got an email for an ad for a new armrest. Is that how complex this algorithm is now? It can tell that my arm is not elevated, so it's sending me ads?
Yes.
Yes. See, when you sit directly in front of that TV, the camera on it then senses.
This one actually bolts in, like it hooks onto the desk and rotates around and stuff. We may need to get one of these.
It's like Santa Claus. Sees you when you're sleeping.
well,
Knows when you're awake.
it's kind of creepy.
I want to put you in a pod, Dan. One of those like full body massage chairs where like your arms and legs lock into it.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. It'll be interesting.
What about just a float tank?
That'd be cool.
I don't really get much out of float tanks. Like my, I guess that's kind of the point, is to train your mind to be quiet, but mine.
Do you ever
doesn't.
get like the Vitruvian Man gyroscopic feeling? Like I knew it was working when it felt like I could just like infinitely like flip over and over again.
You're talking about body disassociation?
Yes.
I mean, I felt that quite a bit with DMT.
It's true. Yeah. I don't know.
But not ever completely sober, no. Next up, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm told this is it's really good. Has anybody watched it yet?
I have not seen last week's or this week's, but I've seen like the first 3, and I don't know. Maybe my hopes were too high. They've made a lot of interesting choices.
I would say probably give it 2 seasons before you make a decision on this.
It might just be a one-off.
No, there's no way. That's what they said about The Mandalorian too until it was successful. They don't have any other content coming out. Not direct to streaming stuff anyways. This is kind of what people have always asked for about Jesus, right? Like what about the teen years? The last you hear from Jesus, he's 12, I think, and he goes to the Pharisees, and they're all super impressed with his wisdom or knowledge or whatever, and then you don't hear from him again until he's 30.
Yeah. What was teen and 20s Jesus doing?
Yeah, I mean, the movie Dogma asked that question as well. Like, did he go through a crisis of faith or whatever? We have no idea. As a matter of fact, we don't know if he ever existed in the first place. But it would be pretty interesting it would be a good literary device, because that's what Jesus is a literary device. Regardless of whether there was a real person or not, it's a literary device to project the image of perfection as a human being and then put it through a bunch of stuff to see how it might react to it, right? That's kind of the point. It would be interesting to see that through adolescence, though. I think kids could use that. Some kind of Like when you're a fucking teenager, you don't have any real role models in your life as a teenager because life is more complex as a teenager than it is as a tween or younger or whatever. I guess in the tween stages where it starts to get complex with social structures and puberty and shit. It's too complex. Like a parent can tell a toddler what to do and how to react to things pretty easily because those are just like very baseline reactions to life. But navigating complex social structures in an environment that's completely foreign from one you've ever been in, it's difficult to do it unless you do it by parable, which is like a generalized story that allows them to input their data. It's basically algebra for social situations, right?
Yeah, I think it's another way to put that is like it's really similar to in Inception, how they had to plant a good memory. You know what I mean? You had to let and it wasn't because it was good was better than bad. It was because essentially like you had to let him figure it out for himself.
Yeah.
I always say like a lot of the times the reason like satire doesn't work on like SNL or like how I really don't think it would work with the Daily Wire either if they like started doing a sort of like conservative sketches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you just put the people there, it's why Schellenberger doesn't use names in his book, right? Because people go fucking nuts. It's better if you like juxtapose what's happening onto like, I don't know, like an HOA meeting or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same as literature though. It's theater of the mind. It's why movies of great books never work because when I write a chair in a dimly lit room, right, in my novel, you have a picture in your head of what that looks like. And when somebody actually makes a picture of it and puts it on the big screen and it doesn't look like what it looked like in your mind, you become immediately critical. I mean, that's what the brain is made for, is to do pattern recognition and associate the patterns with emotions in a way that benefits us, meaning it associates food with the emotion, or maybe emotion is not the right word, but it associates seeing or smelling or tasting good food that we need, like fat, protein, and sugar, with some kind of sense, I guess. It happens the same way. Hold on. Somebody said that episode 3 is the best. So,
that one I have seen. That's where he fights Darth Vader.
Oh, sweet. Again?
Yeah. And Darth Vader, I won't say anything else, but the whole premise of the whole thing is that Obi-Wan is disenchanted and has lost practice.
So he's like fucking Luke Skywalker in the latest trilogy then.
Yeah, very
Basically,
similar in a lot of ways. Except Luke, I feel like still has his power. Like he's just like rusty, and disenchanted like Luke was. It's they made a lot of interesting choices. I don't necessarily disagree with it yet because I guess I haven't seen everything yet, but it's not, I don't know, quite what was expected.
Jeremy Bergeron says that Obi-Wan has PTSD. Probably. All of his buddies got killed except for Yoda, who's on Kashyyyk, right?
No.
Or Yoda's
Dagobah.
on. He's on, in the Dagobah system. Yeah, that's right. Whereas Obi-Wan is on Tatooine.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yes. Working as some sort of like butcher, but like in a factory.
I mean, if you slice and cook it at the same time, that's pretty handy. Anyways, have you watched? Jacob Nickel asked if I've watched the Letterkenny spinoff of Shoresy. Yes, I have. It's really funny. As you would expect it to be. There's some crossover characters. A couple of characters from Trailer Park Boys show up as well. Not the characters, but actors that play characters on Trailer Park Boys show up. It's funny as shit.
There's only so many Canadian actors.
Yeah. Well, the ones that haven't moved to LA already. But
True.
it's really fucking funny. It's I think it's actually funnier than Letterkenny because it doesn't. He's gotten Letterkenny is very regimented. The whole thing, like there's going to be a dance scene with fucking techno music at some point. There's going to be a very quick back and forth where 4 or 5 people are all engaged in a very rhythmic conversation. It's like one thing after another. A lot of those elements are in Shoresy, but it's it's a lot more free, I think, and it's super funny. Mm-hmm. And I think it's helped his comedy. There's one scene where they get a bunch of new hockey players to come in, and Jared Keeso's character is asking them if they've called their moms yet. And then he's on the phone with his mom. He goes, yeah, they haven't even called their fucking moms yet. It's really fucking funny. I mean, the whole thing is really funny. He's a great writer.
He is. And then the fucking soundtrack for Letterkenny and Shoresy, it has like no business being as good as it is.
No.
Like, it's just all bangers.
Yeah, I don't know where, like, do they have a talent scout somewhere? Or are they on SoundCloud all the time searching through songs? Because they find these songs I've never heard of that are fucking dope as shit. I've downloaded a fuckload of music because of that show. It's very bizarre. Not the show that you would think. You would think like I'm going to watch Atlanta or Dave or something like that, a show that's about music. Or
Paperboy,
Yeah.
all about the...
That's stupid. That's not a good song.
That's actually Donald Glover's brother that does all the music as well.
I'm sure Donald helps.
A little bit too, yeah. But the voice of Paperboy is his brother.
I mean, you don't want to waste a great song on a fucking movie.
Dave's
TV
music
run.
was good.
Yeah, but that's just all his regular music.
That's true.
None of his music makes any sense in the fucking first place. It's just like, hey, check out my small wiener. Let's see what's up next. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Minka Fitzpatrick reached an agreement on a massive 4-year contract extension worth over $18.4 million per year for a safety. Holy shit. That seems like a lot.
How much money?
18.4 a year in a 4-year contract. 36 million guaranteed at signing. This isn't a sports show though. DeSantis is in the news because
Very interesting reason.
Elon Musk announced on Twitter that the woman Mayra Flores, I think her name is Myra, maybe I don't know how you say it. She won the congressional seat for some southern Texas district.
Which I think is Elon's Brownsville district.
Yeah, it's where Elon lives. So he said he voted for it. It's the first time he's ever voted Republican in his life.
Well, she won the primary.
Yeah, she won the primary.
So, and that's not, before people get crazy about that one way or the other, you don't have to be registered as a Republican to vote in a Republican primary here. You literally walk into the fucking polling station and they're like, which one would you like to vote in? Democrat or Republican? And then you say Republican if you're smart, because that's usually what the real race is in most areas of this state. So whether or not you are one, I mean, like, it's kind of the same reason Trump was registered Democrat for a while in New York, right? Like,
no, this was a special election to fill the unexpired term of U.S. Rep. Philemon Vela.
Oh.
So she's going to be in Congress from now until January, I suppose, unless she gets reelected. So I assume she's running for reelection in the fall.
Okay.
Because it's a 2-year. Like if his term is coming to an end, this is an even year. So
We did just have a bunch of fucking primaries here over the last weekend, though.
yeah. This was not a primary.
Okay.
She won against the other competitor was Dan Sanchez. She won 51-43, basically.
Do you know why there was a special election? I forgot this was the one, but the reason there was a special election is because the woman who, or I think it might be a guy, I can't remember, it was a weird name. Whoever was holding the seat, it was a Democrat, and they just pieced out early. They just resigned to go be a lobbyist.
Philemon Vela, it's a dude.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
They're just like, fuck this. I'm gonna go get paid.
Oh boy, yeah, that's interesting. But the other thing, to this point, that Musk said was that he replied to something with DeSantis. I can't remember. Let me find it.
He said,
It was a reply to something.
yeah. Let me see if I can find the actual thing.
Yeah, it's
Oh, here we go. I got it.
at the top here.
It is, who are you leaning toward? Okay, so somebody's talking to him. The Texan says something about Flores. He says, I voted Mayra Flores. First time I ever voted Republican. Massive red wave in 2022.
Right.
Tesla owners, Silicon Valley said, I assume Republican for president too. And Musk says TBD. Tesla says, whatever this account says, what are you leaning towards? He says DeSantis. And then someone else responds, but your political donations will be evenly spread out as you do always, right? And then Musk says, I'm thinking of creating a super moderate super PAC that supports candidates with centrist views from all parties.
Yeah, that's, remember when Matthew McConaughey said he was a radical centrist and then went to the White House and demanded fucking red flag laws? Don't trust any of these fucking people.
You know what, though? Like, what's the difference between a centrist and a moderate? Because there are plenty of, like, urban and suburban sort of country club crowd Republicans that would probably also be for that, who are very conservative in a lot of other ways. Like, I can tell you my dad's voted Republican his whole life, never been a big gun guy.
Yeah, there's plenty of non-big gun people that still would not support this nonsense, right? I mean, you would think anybody that considers themselves conservative would not be very comfortable giving the government that level of access. I mean, it's a violation of the Fifth Amendment, which the Supreme Court has already judged red flag laws as unconstitutional before. So it'll be interesting to see how these court cases go if this thing passes. But to your, ooh, shit, what the fuck is this? Yeah, to your other point about that, I think people get the idea that because we use the words right and left to describe the two political parties, that center means that you're literally in the middle of the two positions, and that's not really what it means, right? It means that sometimes the right is correct, and sometimes the left is correct, and sometimes neither of them are correct. That's what it really means. It doesn't, like, it's not an average of the two viewpoints, and that's reality. That's not what centrists believe.
Right.
So it's just the language around it is kind of confusing.
And it's certainly not. It might it might be the type of thing where you average out to in the center. Like you believe just a certain amount of left and right that averages you into the middle. But if you plucked any one of those things out, you'd be like, well, that sounds radically left, or that sounds pretty radically right. And it's like, well, no, it's just it's really. Centrist doesn't even work. It should just be more like I'm fucking a la carte.
Yeah. It's probably a more apropos description of it. Number 9, Internet Explorer. It's time to say goodbye to Internet Explorer. As of Wednesday, Microsoft will no longer support the once dominant browser that faded away as users found faster, less crash-prone alternatives. So Microsoft's second oldest product is now gone. Interesting.
Do you think Chrome killed it or Firefox?
I don't know. It's probably half of your customer base gets cannibalized by Apple, right?
Right.
Because people either use Chrome or Safari on Apple. Mostly people use Safari, but people that use an alternative typically use Chrome.
But it hasn't been cool to have Explorer for decades.
No, as a matter of fact, it's been like wearing New Balance shoes or having an AOL email address.
Yeah.
Right.
Hotmail.
Yep. That's interesting. I mean, why continue making a product that doesn't doesn't work right? It's like if you had the shittiest car company. Usually, most of them usually correct and make a good car. Like every car company has a good run for a while. Remember when Kia first came out, and it was like, these cars are pieces of shit. What are you doing here? And now it's like one of those. They win all the safety awards and shit.
Yeah.
I think it was those commercials with the hamsters.
It's the hamsters that really put them over.
Yeah. Well, their product not sucking helped.
The soul.
But what was the other one?
Blake Griffin also jumped over it in the dunk contest.
That's true.
The Saturn went away entirely.
Yeah, it's dead.
So, like car companies, if you suck, you don't just stick around and provide a shitty product. You either have to correct or people stop buying it. I assume they haven't made money on that in a while. But it's what was so. I also assume that the one use for it was feeding into their AI engine, right? All the search results and stuff, because every major tech company has an AI play. Is it that or collecting data on users? Like there still had to be some revenue for that. So what's their alternative? What's Microsoft doing to get user data?
I mean, they've got the hardware still.
They
right?
also got Edge.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Microsoft Edge.
Is that a operating system?
I think
It's a browser.
it's a browser. Yeah.
Oh,
It was the new Internet Explorer.
They
never
edge
even
you.
heard of it.
Yeah, I know. Because we don't have Microsoft.
And there was Opera for a while, if you liked Opera.
Oof.
Another browser.
Opera was actually a lot of Linux users used Opera because it's light. 10 Wednesday thought. No, that's stupid. We're not doing any kind of inspirational shit here. Gen X in 4 words is a hashtag. I don't know where this came from. Gen X in 4 words. Here are some examples. So basically, summarize Generation X in 4 words. Be kind and rewind.
So this is basically this meme right here is what Gen X has been saying about itself. There's been a lot of pro Gen X propaganda online.
I'm seeing quite a bit of pro Gen X propaganda, yeah.
And so this is essentially what they think. They're like, we're the only cool ones. We don't care, man. And I'm a little sick of it.
Yeah. It's a bit much. It's a bit much.
They really think highly of themselves.
And it's not even, they're really not even, most of these responses are not even sticking to the format because it's like a picture plus 4 words. So you have an additional element of context there. Not just, if you just said be kind, rewind, everybody knows what that means. That was fucking Blockbuster's logo.
That was also an amazing movie starring Jack Black and Mos Def.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Yeah, they have to like basically recreate all the movies that they accidentally deleted.
So what do they do? Rent the DVD and then put it onto a fucking VHS?
No, this is only VHS time. It's a
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Most musically diverse generation. That can't be true.
Get the fuck, God. It's literally like Gen X is reaching the part of their being a fucking generation where they're like, it was just so much better back in my day, the same way boomers were about the 60s and 70s when we were kids.
We're kind of getting there.
We're getting close. It's
getting
just
close.
Gen X's turn right now. And then we're
next up.
Yeah, we'll be blowing ourselves about 2007 for some reason.
David Banner.
Let's see. We don't need seatbelts is one.
Listen. Dale Earnhardt.
Spray it with Aquanet. A lot of hairspray, I guess. I hate when companies try to get in on these. Just shut the fuck up. You're not funny. Let's see. The more you know. That's a good one. That's a Gen X thing. Did they have the more you know shit when you guys were growing up?
Well, I mean, I was a child when Gen X was in its like prime, right? Like, so and all millennials were like, millennials were basically like children, like little children when Gen X was like high school, college, early 20s, which is, the prime of the generation, I guess, or whatever.
That makes sense, yeah. Let's see. The rest of these are stupid. That one was stupid. Daca is up on here again for some reason. Oh, 10 years on this day 10 years ago, the Daca thing passed. Is that still legal, or has it been repealed or stopped somehow? The Dreamers bullshit. I don't even know what the status of that is anymore.
Rob's looking it up.
I don't know what the
So as of this year, Daca has promised security to a total of 3,467,749 applicants. So that means there are 3.5 million illegal immigrants that are children applying for school and shit, right?
or former children, I guess.
Yeah, but the reason they qualify for this is because they're in higher education, right? Isn't that what it was?
I have no idea. I think it's just all I know about Dreamers is they were brought over as kids.
I mean, you know,
They were.
just make them citizens. If they're children, who gives a shit? Like I've worked in immigration before, so I know the argument against this is that if you make them citizens, then they can then petition for their parents to become citizens, and then their parents can petition for their other brothers and sisters and everybody else to become citizens. Here's the deal, folks. Criminals aren't coordinating with their kids and parents to fucking break immigration laws or commit crimes in the United States. They're just trying to get the fuck out of Mexico and come here and work.
All right, Dan Jr., here's the plan. You're going to go in and get citizenship. And you're going to fill out a lot of paperwork in a language you don't understand, so we can get over.
I'm not saying they're not committing a crime by entering the country unlawfully, and I'm not saying that it's even ethically right to do that necessarily. What I'm saying is that on the whole, like economically speaking, one, they're not committing crimes in such a way that victimize other people. Like they pay, if they're illegal still, they pay into Social Security and they can never get money from Social Security. But just in general, it's like I'd have to look I don't know what the current numbers are because the immigration system has been even more fucked up than it was before, but it was something like a $13.5 billion dollar net revenue from illegal migratory labor in the U.S., something like that. It was a lot. It definitely wasn't costing us money. A lot of people like to make that claim that it costs us money. That's not true. It's the porous border is a security issue, not necessarily an economic one.
As Dave Chappelle likes to say, you don't want to pick your own strawberries.
No. And it makes a lot of sense. We've said this before, but it makes a lot of sense for minimum wage jobs to be things for people aged 16 to 24 that are going through school. And once they move into the next phase of their life, which is the either apartment owning or home owning phase of their life, we need to find ways to make sure there is work for people to do that's commensurate with the cost of those goods as well. In the same way, it's a very good thing for our economy if people can come here, work in ways that keep the costs of commodities low, but once paid, the money that we give them for their work here when they go back to their home country goes a lot farther, right? So if you did an inflation calculator from like Guatemala to United States, like how far does $1 US go in Guatemala? It's not predatory. You know what I mean? Like the US dollar goes really far there. And that's kind of the point, right? There's layers to any kind of economy, whether it's local or, in this case, interstate. I think it's a good idea.
I have some breaking news.
Go for it.
China's trying to alien cuck us.
Yeah, I saw that.
China announces via state media that it may have detected signals from an alien civilization.
They're full of shit.
They have a giant telescope that the Mail says is one of the best in the world, or one of the best at discovering alien life. Like if anyone could, that's one of the telescopes. But yeah, I mean, they're probably lying.
I mean, so there was a report about a month ago, and I believe that the data they were reporting on was about 3 months old, that we were receiving some mysterious radio signals from space. I mean, the last time that happened, we found out that there was a supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A star, at the center of our galaxy. So it could be something like that. But aliens, like what? I'll have to read this. We'll probably cover it on fake news, to be honest. If not, I'll write something about it. All right, well, this has been a fun show. So Friday, we will put out an episode, which will kind of be American Party. It'll be it's going to be an explanation of what Citizen is, the podcast, and I'm going to talk about it for a while. And if you are here in the chat, it'll be noon on Friday. If you're here in the chat, then we'll discuss exactly what I'm going to do with this show, how I'm going to approach it, what I expect from all of you. It'll be on its own channel, yeah, and we'll share that. I'll put the link to that channel in this YouTube, but we'll also promote it on social media and shit, so you can get it that way. But if you look in the profile of Drinking Bros on YouTube, I'll add it to the channels that are associated with this one. So that's another easy way to find it. But yeah, we'll talk for a while about what the new show is going to be, kind of what the format will be, and I'll take some questions from you guys and see if there's some suggestions you might have, because ultimately it's for you. I mean, this is I've enjoyed American Party quite a bit. I like that we have really interesting guests. I have good conversations with you guys as well. But it's like the politics shit is constant. And it's become the way that we've chosen, in a lot of ways by force, I guess, but to frame the world. It's the backdrop for all the conversations we're having. That's why it's like in everything, sports and everything else. And we want to get away from that. I'm going to talk to these guests, and I'm going to talk to you guys. We'll have regular laymen on the show, people that just work day-to-day, our day jobs or whatever the fuck, to talk about how, different principles from the list of principles, and how it affects your life, which ones you focus on, so on and so forth. And that'll be Friday at noon. And then next week, we will have one final American Party with Dr. Robert Malone, the mRNA guy. It's going to be on Patreon only, because for all the obvious reasons, because we don't want to get fucking banned before we get to 100,000, I guess. So if you're not already a Patreon member, go check that out. Go find the Citizen Podcast. It's on my Instagram. There's a link to it right now. Go find that link and subscribe over there, and turn on all the notifications so you get those. Again, if you're not already a Patreon member, you should probably start looking at that, because we're getting ready to move a lot of our video content over there. So anyways, we'll see you guys on Friday.